Welcome back to the Innovation Room. I am your host, Daniel Guajardo, for this segment of our show, and this segment is Blog on Tape. This is where we take one of the blogs that we have researched and written on our website, and we kind of just talk through it, break it down, and try to give you the most important information from the blog in an audio form. You know, some of us just like podcasts more than we like to read it, or maybe they're just more convenient if we travel a lot. Either way, let's get right into it. Today's topic is the Internet of Things. This is a pretty interesting topic. Not a lot of people talk about it too much, or some people don't really understand exactly what it means either, but it's really great. So we're going to talk about using the Internet of Things and how we can elevate our businesses in 2021. If you've never heard the term Internet of Things, it's been a pretty hot topic, I guess, but I don't know. It's hard to say that it's a hot topic because it's not really discussed all that often. It's tossed around a lot in the tech world for sure. So I know it's talked about a lot more there. Our industry, barely at all. But for some reason, it's talked about as if it's going to come in the future, or, you know, one day we will see this Internet of Things, but that's not what it is at all. So many people think that it's not here, and it is. It's not just too advanced to be here now. You might even be using it daily. You might be using it within your company, but you're seeing it used somewhere. It's a booming network. It's happening right now. And many companies are starting to take advantage of the innovative technology that is the Internet of Things, and they're using it to boost efficiencies, streamline customer interactions. And we're going to discuss this new era of technology and how you can be a part of it. So for those that may not know, let's start at the beginning with what the Internet of Things is. First of all, it's referred to most of the time as IoT. And IoT was first born sometime between 2008 and 2009. At this time, there were more devices actually connected to the internet than there were people connected to the internet. IoT is machine-to-machine communication. It involves collecting and transmitting data from one machine to another, and then that data is internally analyzed and sent back to the user so updates can be received in real time. You may know this as a push notification. If you are ever asked to turn on push notifications, sometimes that can be the same process, but that's not always the case. Let's just get into an example of what we're talking about here. So let's say you own a commercial transportation business that transports people. Say that they do this by way of bus, and conversation's sake, you're going from point A to point B. One way that you could integrate IoT technology into this business is to have the bus consistently sending communications to a smartphone app. The app can then send these push notifications to potential riders, notifying them exactly where the bus is at all times so they know when to arrive at the bus stop. The bus could also send communications alerting the company, the business, when a potential accident or breakdown occurs on the bus, and then proper authorities can be dispatched at a much quicker rate, reducing potential or crucial response times if there's an injury. So this scenario kind of exemplifies two key elements of IoT, really. The communication is truly machine to machine, and that has to be something that is met to be considered IoT. And then it shows that from machine to machine, through this communication is not intended to remove the human aspect, but to augment the IoT technology into our jobs and our daily lives. And that's also very important as well. The things portion of IoT refers to the devices that are communicating with one another. Other examples of things could be your smartwatch, your coffee maker, tablets, smart TVs, all that kind of stuff. They can include anything as small as a pill-sized computer chip to something as large as an airplane. There are billions of these devices that are currently connected. I think 10.7 billion to be exact. Right now, this is a booming trend that people are really starting to catch on to, and it will continue as we come up with more and more devices that are being connected to the internet on a daily basis. So at this time, it'd be quite reasonable if you're asking, why should I care? So large companies, they're investing billions of dollars in the Internet of Things. Google made a $3.2 billion purchase of Nest, an IoT company, and it just has investments in additional companies totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. And if Google thinks it's important, we've kind of come to learn that they're ahead of the things more than other companies or more than the media is when it comes to talking about these technologies. And many other companies, you know, just not as large, they're also hopping on, and they have a part in this as well. It's a growing thing throughout businesses everywhere. Consumers and businesses alike are going to keep connecting more and more devices to the internet as time passes each year. 2019 was an average of 8 connected devices per person, I think it was. And then experts project this to increase to 13.6 per person, something like that in 2022. And 2025, though, they project an astonishing 75 billion devices are going to be connected to the internet worldwide. As the years pass and the technologies just continue to develop and grow, like with the implementation of 5G networks that we're seeing, the amount of time that devices are not connected to the internet will decrease, and the devices will consistently be providing real-time updates. We can see that IoT is going to impact us personally, but what about on a larger corporate scale? The pandemic truly revealed all the vulnerabilities of the supply chains around the world. Companies will be looking for solutions and methods to reduce or eliminate these vulnerabilities. One answer lies within IoT technologies and capabilities. With that, we're just going to hop into our next discussion point, which is how can the Internet of Things improve your business? The pandemic particularly exposed the lack of end-to-end visibility, as we talked about a little bit earlier, across the global supply chain, not even just nationally. This was global and everybody knows that. And it's very obvious now because we're seeing the effects of it. Businesses' inability to predict future obstacles or challenges that may occur within their supply chains, it's added a level of difficulty that has left many feeling just completely unprepared after we saw things become so rough and so hard for us. Because the predictability or the predictive capabilities and real-time data, though, that these updates from IoT technologies can provide, businesses can construct almost complete end-to-end visibility and better anticipate or forecast these future obstacles and challenges. And that's huge. So IoT also lends itself to other unique capabilities, and it can help you improve your business in the following ways here. And I'm actually just going to read these directly from our blog to you because I thought these were pretty important. So providing health and safety benefits. For example, an IoT controlled building, it would be able to monitor the health conditions of employees working on the floor or wherever they may be working with throughout the building. If a medical emergency were to occur on the floor, the system, through the notifications and alerts that we talked about earlier, sends help immediately and potentially prevent worse injury or death. Expanding marketing initiatives by connecting users and devices. So IoT can provide in-depth information and data analysis for multiple or individual target markets. It does this by collecting data on customer location, spending habits, demographics, and the like. In turn, the information provided in the form of reporting will outline what your customers are most interested in. Additionally, through historical data, IoT devices can push targeted marketing messages to the customer at the perfect time. By now, we're all familiar with ad retargeting. You may search for an item of interest on your favorite device, whether you purchase it or not. Over the next couple of days, you're going to see ads pop up on all your other websites you're visiting or your apps that you're going into. They'll be related to that project. So these may populate in your web browser as well, or your email or your social media pages. But when an organization has more information about the target market, specifically the customer profile that they create, they can make the customer's interaction with them more frictionless, more seamless. And since they know the customer's likes and dislikes, also along with all the preferences we provide the information for, it only becomes more accurate over time as the data is collected on each individual customer. So we'll start seeing things that we actually really want and not seeing things that we don't want. The third way that IoT lends itself with its unique capabilities is it reduces long-term costs. So there's a lot of large companies that are choosing IoT technology as an investment for long-term cost reduction. They collect vast amounts of data that no longer requires a company to go to the consumer to get this information through surveys or cold calling or whatever it may be. However they collect this information in the past, it's very different now. Consumers willingly provide the data, and then in exchange, they have the ease of use of their app or their online shopping experience. So think about, when was the last time you provided a website or app, your email, your birthday, and then you get a birthday discount, or maybe it's you get a discount for being the first time signing up through email with this company. The companies then access your data at any time, any day for any future purchases you make and at any location on any device. And this is just really helps them reduce all these long-term costs. And over the years, it's going to add up to be a lot. So me personally, I get really excited about almost any new technology because my first thought goes to like, how can companies, organizations, businesses implement this technology? How can we streamline the process for our clients? How can we use it to collect data to better provide our target markets. But that's just because I'm in marketing, and that's almost where my brain directly goes with anything new, because I love my job and I love what I do. But we're not an IoT company. And while I'm excited about all this, and it may sound as if I'm trying to tell you it's the best thing, like any other technology, there are going to be some problems. Maybe not problems. So let's say concerns. So let's go through some of the concerns that people or companies are having with the Internet of Things. It seems great, but it's certainly not without flaw, as we're saying. In fact, there's a sizable security concern with IoT technology that hasn't been solved. So let's go back to our example of how IoT could aid a business with health and safety concerns. The device was able to monitor the health conditions of the employees on the floor, and that may seem like a great thing, but you may also wonder who else outside of the business now has access to these names, current health conditions, medical information of the workers. Insurance companies have been known in the past to try to use information like this to charge people much higher premiums, which is, as we also know, not particularly fair, maybe not even legal in some cases, but don't want to get too much into that. So experts just have concerns about the ethical ramifications of IoT network, especially being used as a health monitoring device network. We've seen similar concerns voiced by health professionals, and the same things. They're just worried about the ethics regarding the use of like COVID-19 passports, which would also be something that uses IoT technology and has been talked about quite recently. So as with any device connected to the internet, there's always some concern of being hacked. IoT is no different. Hackers have many methods of getting into the devices, stealing personal data, stealing personal information. You could do this about the employees that are being monitored by the business. And there have been several cases in the past where IoT devices were easily hacked and important data was stolen from seemingly harmless devices, like a Wi-Fi password being recovered from an electric kettle. So I don't think we're there yet with the security. I don't think we're there yet with the security for all the devices that we use daily, but we're a lot farther than we are with things like, kettles or like your smart fridge that lets you know you're out of milk. But these things, they're still taking a lot of that same information that we are so worried about people gaining access to over our laptops, over our cell phones, and they have a lot of that information stored on there. And hackers are smart. We know that. They're always trying to find new ways to get in and steal people's stuff. It's their job. It's what they do. That's why we have security. That's why we have firewalls. That's why we have experts. And I just don't think it's quite there yet, especially because we're spending our time on the things we believe are more important, like laptops and cell phone security. But fortunately, these IoT companies, they are taking security more seriously now. So these days, there's HIPAA compliant devices, and the companies are also identifying sensitive data and taking the proper steps to protect that data. Several companies are releasing devices that are more difficult to hack, and others are even hiring ethical hackers to test systems by hacking in to reveal and improve upon vulnerabilities. I think that's a great idea, actually. Now that you know the pros and cons of the Internet of Things or IoT, I guess it's up to you to decide if you are a business owner or trying to maybe implement some of these things within your organization, your company. Is it time? Do you want to be at the forefront of this technology where we all know that we can usually gain a higher market share or benefit more, changing your business maybe in a really big way? Or do you opt out, maybe sit back a little, don't adopt it quite yet because of the concerns? And I don't know. It's a tough decision, but more risk, more reward kind of thing, I guess. No matter what you choose, though, one thing is for sure: IoT is not going anywhere, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. It is only going to continue to grow, and get better. So if you're not going to adopt now, at least know about it. Know what you need to do when you're ready in the future. So that's everything we have for you today. I really appreciate everyone who made it all the way through to the end. Please remember to do all the YouTube stuff if that's where you're consuming our content. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you are listening to our podcast anywhere podcasts are found, because we're available, I believe, in most places, take the time to subscribe. That'd be great. And if you have any feedback or tell me I'm wrong or whatever you want to do, leave some comments below. I check quite often, and I'll hop in there and start a conversation, or maybe get a larger conversation going. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'm going to try to continue doing more of these because it's easier to do in between podcasts with guests and things like that. And I believe a lot of this information is very timely, but very important and relevant. So I'm going to try to get it out to everybody as quickly as possible. Thanks for listening.